This Disney thing, it I've said this a couple times now. I'm going to say again, if Disney goes as it continues on the path that it is going through, there's no saving it. There's no saving it. It is not even worth saving at this point if it stays like this. In my opinion, and I want to see whether or not you guys agree with me on this. If you want to save Disney, one first major thing has to happen. Disney must be broken apart for the monopoly that it is. Take away Pixar. Take away Lucasfilm. Take away Fox Studios. Take away Marvel. It must be stripped of all these things, and that is a monopoly, and monopolies are illegal. But the government has turned a blind eye for so many years. Florida has turned a blind eye for so many years because of the revenue. Well, now I think people are going to take a closer look at it. If you make Disney standalone as just Disney Studios and the theme parks, we would get a drastically different reaction to all this stuff. Do you think I'm right on that?
If nothing else, I'd just like to see them be forced to the point of having to sell off some of these damn IPs because they own
Oh, I would
way
love
too
it.
many.
If they sold it off, then Star Wars can come back.
And
That's
that's
why
the
I
only
keep,
way you get Star Wars back is if they sell
and
it.
that's why I've said that. And I believe one day, if look at what's going on, they're good. I don't think they can hold on to Star Wars because Star Wars is not making them money. It isn't making them money, not for what they paid for it. There have been studies done where they have lost money on
Yeah,
Star
they
Wars
still, even though they had with the the sequel trilogy, even though it made gangbusters, it
on
still ain't
paper,
actually made money because you
on
still have to buy Star Wars,
and
pay
nobody buys merch.
and interest. Don't forget, they don't ever
Hmm.
pay cash. They always get loans for this crap. So by
Two
interest
things.
and everything else, they've still lost. I think they said somewhere in the billions.
Two things. One, George Lucas made his millions on Star Wars toys. That's how he made his millions. That's how he made his profit. When Star Wars A New Hope took off and they put the toys out there, people were all over it. That's how he became a rich man and allowed him the freedom to do what he want to do. Two, like Grump just said, there has been studies on they are not making money. And on paper, it says they made billions on the sequel trilogy movies. That's on the paper we see. We don't know the real numbers of what it costs to make those movies. We don't know the interest that they've had to pay on all that stuff. We don't know exactly. And Grump has said it. They've lost billions. Nobody's buying the merch.
No, yeah,
Nobody's.
that's sitting on shelves.
Yeah. So no, so Star people say, and this is where I criticize the FNT crew. I love them to death. Whenever Quarter Black Garrett says Star Wars is dead, no, Disney Star Wars is dead. Real Star Wars is alive. It is alive. It is being. We must collect, protect, and preserve it because Disney cannot hold on to it forever. They're going. I predict. I'm saying it now. Maybe I've said it in the past, but here it is. I'm saying it. They will have to jettison things. They will jettison Lucasfilm one day, and somebody, a better custodian, will hopefully then come along and have the balls to give the finger to the blue checkmark brigade on Twitter and all the Raylos out there, all the people who claim to love Disney Star Wars but never buy the merch. They will then decanonize the Disney Star Wars stuff and recanonize actual Star Wars that made money. These books made money for Lucasfilm, for Del Rey, for Bantam Books, for Lucasfilm Books for the period of time they were making them on their own. They made money. Video games made money for decades. Decades they made money. They're not making money anymore. They sort of they're pushing off of cliffs. They claim, oh, it's for this and that. No, you're pushing off of cliffs because right away your stats told you nobody cares about a High Republic video game. Not a one. So yeah,
Looking at it because they're talking about it in the chat, and I was getting ready to mention it. Who could afford to buy Star Wars now? You're looking at very few. Sony's actually in the positive; they could possibly do it. Microsoft,
no,
Amazon. These are just the ones that could. And of them three, the only one that I would even be somewhat okay with would be Sony.
I would
I'd
like
like
to
to just
see,
see it to go to a
you know what I would
somebody
see.
that actually likes it
I would
and
like
would
to
only
see.
license it to each thing.
I'm not saying Elon should do it, but I'd like to see an eccentric billionaire buy it and then just turn it over to people who care about the product.
That's
So have
what
somebody
I'd
have
like.
not a company. I'm saying a member. Lucas was an individual who created the company. Sell it to somebody who is a fan and then would hire people to take care of the properties that are involved with Lucasfilm, who care about it.
I was say, what about Universal? Will they have the money to buy Star Wars?
They're
Because
NBC. Remember, that's NBC Universal. We don't want to go near them. Comcast. Comcast. We don't want Comcast anywhere near it. No.
They used to work quite a lot with George Lucas back in the day with animated films like The Land of the Time.
Yeah.
No, as of lately, I mean, the only company out there would be.
No, it's okay. No, Dragon Lee. That's an opinion. It's fine. I'm adding context to what you said. That's Comcast, and Comcast is a notoriously terrible company.
I didn't know about that bit. Yeah. I'm just thinking about Universal from 30 years ago.
Yeah, Comcast is the parent company of NBC Universal. They're the parent company, and Comcast is terrible. They are horrible. I mean, we know you would no. In Dragon Lee's defense, she doesn't know that we get. A lot of our internet in this country is provided by Comcast, and we hate them. We hate them for what they do. No, I would hope that an individual would buy it first and then create a new company to umbrella over Lucasfilm. That's what I would want. Somebody powerful.
Have to be a multi-billionaire.
Mega. Somebody like Elon, not necessarily Elon, but somebody like Elon who has the money to use it and just who is a nerd and would say, I'm going to buy it for here, Disney. You bought it for $4 billion. I'm going to buy it for $6 billion. And I'm now going to create a new company to govern Lucasfilm. And I'm going to fire everybody in there. We're going to rebuild it from the ground up and put people in charge of it who actually care about the product. And then there's a chance that real Star Wars can come back. And I believe something tells me this is just maybe it's whimsy. Maybe I got high and I didn't know it. But something tells me that it's going to happen one day. It's going to happen one day.
Jeff Bezos' version would be awesome, guys. Come on. You know that. Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He would have
Draco's
this black made up.
Start some shit.
He'd have his own custom loss. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Oh, God. I hope you're joking when you say that. I really hope
he's got to be trolling.
That's got to be a joke. That George Soros is a Sith Lord. He is a Sith Lord. We don't want him anywhere near that stuff.
He's like Palpatine. I think he's been resurrected 3 or 4 times.
I called him a Sith Lord years ago back in 20 years ago. I called him a Sith Lord I labeled him that a long time ago, like in 2007 or something like that. I only have my family to quote me on that, but I've been calling him a Sith Lord for decades. But yeah, we hopefully
just all start a GoFundMe and there you go. Get the necessary money.
Then there'll be a war.
Grump in charge. He'll do it.
He should be in charge.
CEO.
Fine. Just fine. All right, Grump, you're in charge.
Oh God.
Never mind. But yeah. But the way to save Disney, you break it apart. If they had to stand on their own and make money on their own products without the extra money of Marvel coming, because Marvel and the parks are what's sustaining them right now. If you didn't have Marvel, you didn't have Disney, if you didn't have the Fox Studio royalties coming in from all those movies, you didn't have. Maybe I said that wrong. I don't know complete business. Correct. I'm not perfect. But if you didn't have,
they got a bunch of other streams that a lot of people don't know about too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that Disney owns ESPN.
Yeah, that's ABC.
Own
that's ABC.
26 channels that are on basic cable. They get paid every month out of your cable bill a certain percentage, whether you turn your TV on or not.
Well, I don't have a cable
bill. Because they
bill.
own so many channels that they can force the cable providers to pay them even with zero views.
Well, to circle back around to when we were talking about Comcast, NBC Universal, why do you think Sci-Fi or Sci-Fi is what we're called? Why do you think it's such a shit channel? Because it's owned by NBC. Remember, Sci-Fi, Sci-Fi, USA Network, I believe Bravo, there's a lot of they are all NBC affiliates. They are all under the umbrella. They're all parent companies. NBC Universal, who's parent company to Comcast. Yeah, Grump is right. There are revenue streams coming in all over the place. Disney owns too much. They are a monopoly. And if they were just Disney Studios in the theme parks, we wouldn't be seeing any of this. They would be forced to stand on their own and not piss off their customers, which is what's going to happen. So in order to save Disney, they must be broken up back into the individual. Now, if here's the thing, if they are broken up, nobody needs to buy Lucasfilm. Then they're just forced to cut it off, and then Lucasfilm becomes a single entity again. I believe that's how it works. I don't know. I'm just saying, if they're broken up by the government, I mean, we haven't seen a good old-fashioned monopoly bashing in a long time. So I don't know what it would look like in this modern era where basically everything's a goddamn monopoly now.
Yeah, I
don't know how you would do it, but if they break it up, you would assume then it's becoming its own entity and nobody has to buy it. And then you're forced to fend for yourself based on your own investments and properties. You're no longer getting the revenue streams of all this stuff. Oh, hold on Van for 1 second. I got to get up for a second. Hold on.
The last I heard, Disney basically bit off more than they could chew with Fox, and as a result, they've been struggling ever since the Fox purchase.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were struggling, and you would struggle.
They paid a lot for Fox, and they're not really getting a whole lot of payback in from them.
They did it so they could get the X-Men
characters.
They did it so they could get the X-Men. That's why they did it.
Which I don't trust them with.
Oh, well, why should we at this point?
Oh.
No.
Why should we? We shouldn't trust them at all. And of course, then they make the brilliant move of dissolving 21st Century Fox as a studio. Congratulations. Get rid of the nearly century-long iconic intro of the 21st Century Fox. Get rid of it.
The place that made this.
Yeah. Get rid of it.
I was my dad watched that the other week, and he said he really enjoyed it.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
And he was like,
awesome.
I'm tempted.
It's like, well, don't expect
good
them
luck. Yeah.
Don't expect them to do a sequel because they're still peeved off that Captain Marvel beat that.
Well, remember, this might
Captain Marvel. Sorry.
Well, let's remember the Robert Rodriguez playing ball with Boba Fett and Mandalorian. That may be his way to trying to get it done, to get a sequel done. We may forgive him his playing footsie with all that stuff because that may be his way to get us another Alita movie, which then I'd be okay, great, because I want another one. Hell, I'll admit it. Last night when I was thinking this over for a minute before I forgot to keep thinking about it, I'm tempted to do Alita this week for Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturdays. I'm tempted. I might not do it, but I'm tempted. It's on my short list. I'll say that it's on my short list. But yeah, we Disney, there's no saving. I mean, other than that, is there any way to save Disney? Is this, as I see, that's the only way. Do you guys see any other way Disney can ever be saved?
Not in a good way. I think that, go ahead, Grump.
I was thinking complete ownership change with absolute spring cleaning of all the boards. Like that only happens with a dissolving of its corporation, I think, because then pretty much
because I mean you got to realize the economic implications that we're talking. Stockholders suddenly their stocks have to shift their stocks to, if they want to own some. Do they then shift their ownership of stocks to the individual company? Like suddenly you own stock in Lucasfilm, not Disney, or own stock in Marvel Studios. I mean, it's if it happens, it would be a nightmare for a lot of people. But it's one of those things. You got to go through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering to maybe get to something good. A lot of bad's got to happen before we come out the other end of the tunnel and something good happens. But I don't see any other way unless it gets broken up.
I could be pessimistic and say that they could simply win.
And also don't listen to Twitter.
That's always a possibility, though.
Howdy, y'all. The first chapter of my fantasy novel, Guardian of Innocence, is now available for free Click the link in the description below and join me in an old-school good versus evil story where Cole Lares, a disillusioned mercenary, suddenly finds himself dropped into the middle of a destiny he never asked for as the protector of Jania Sarai, a blacksmith's daughter who may hold the answers to finally stopping a millennia-old threat to the world of Rosetta. Cole's perceptions of love, family, trust, loyalty, as well as his very beliefs in fate versus free will shall be tested as he struggles to keep Jania safe from the minions of the dreaded Zabor Tal, former champion of the gods and now ruler of the long-forgotten Yis Empire. Click the link below, enjoy the first chapter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and help it grow so that I can bring you the full story in the near future. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I don't do Facebook. I will never do Twitter. If you want to reach out to me, email me at therennerd@gmail.com. I'm on Getter now, at @TheRenNerd, the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can also follow me on Odyssey at The Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.